All right, everybody, welcome back. So today we're tackling something that I think we've all struggled with at some point. Like, what actually is business casual?
Right.
It's like you open your closet and you're like, okay, I gotta go to this work thing.
Yep.
Is it a jeans situation? Is it, are we talking like full suit?
Right.
It's tricky. And the thing is, the answer, it always kind of depends, doesn't it?
It really does. It's definitely not one size fits all.
No, not at all.
That's what makes it so fascinating, actually.
Yeah.
Business casual itself, it's not really like a specific thing. It's more of a spectrum,
Yeah.
you know? And figuring out where you land on that spectrum, well, it depends on a whole bunch of things. The industry you're in, the company's culture, even where you are in the world.
Absolutely. So to help us, break it all down, we're looking at a few different sources today. Oh, we've
Yeah.
got this really in-depth guide from TimeTrex, and they're workforce management pros, so they definitely know this world.
They have to.
Right. We've also got some stats from Gallup News about how what people wear to work has been changing.
Interesting.
And this is something I think is really important. We're going to touch on some research from LinkedIn about how the way you present yourself at work, clothing-wise, can actually have a real impact on your career.
Yeah, that's something people don't always want to admit, but it's true. The way we dress, it sends a message, whether we intend to or not.
It's like this whole silent language we've got going on.
Totally.
And one thing TimeTrex really emphasized in their guide was this idea that business casual isn't about saying goodbye to professionalism. It's more about finding that balance between looking put together, but also being comfortable.
And reflecting the company culture, too, which can be tricky.
Totally.
Because it's easy to focus so much on being comfortable that you forget that you're part of a bigger picture.
Yeah.
The way you look reflects on the company, too.
Totally. So how do we find that balance? Luckily, TimeTrex gets into the nitty-gritty, and they actually give separate do's and don'ts for men and women.
Oh, that's helpful.
But instead of going through everything, I kind of want to focus on the why behind some of these things.
Well, I like that.
Because, one thing they say is that dark jeans can be okay,
Okay.
but obviously it's not just any pair of jeans.
Right, right. And that's where I think understanding a little bit about, the psychology of clothing helps. Because a pair of dark wash jeans that fit well, you pair that with a blazer or nice shirt, and it can actually look really sharp,
Yeah,
especially depending on the industry.
totally. It's like you're taking something casual but dressing it up.
Exactly. Elevated casual, that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
But then you take those same dark jeans, maybe they're ripped or super faded, all of a sudden you're sending a very different message.
Yeah, not as professional anymore.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, different industries have different vibes. TimeTrex even specifically talks about corporate offices, creative fields, and the tech world as having their own takes on this whole business casual thing.
It's true. And it gets really interesting because even within those categories, like what flies in one company might get you like sideways glances in another. Company culture is huge.
It's so true.
And it's not just about the company itself, right? Like the whole world of work has been changing so much, even just in the last few years.
Oh, for sure.
Like we were looking at that Gallup data, and it shows how much things have shifted, even just between like 2019 and now.
Yeah, what'd they find?
Well, it seems like across the board, a lot of industries are getting way more relaxed about what people wear.
Really? So, is the whole suit and tie thing dead?
I mean, it's definitely on the decline, although this is interesting. TimeTrex pointed out that some fields, like if you're in finance or law,
Uh-huh.
those industries are still pretty traditional. Like they haven't really jumped on that whole casual bandwagon.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. In those jobs, you really need people to see you as, reliable, trustworthy.
Exactly.
Not sure ripped jeans really scream, I'm responsible with your money.
Right. You got to minimize that risk.
Totally. But then, like you were saying, on the flip side, you have those creative fields where it's almost like you're expected to show off your personality through your clothes.
Oh, totally. It's almost like your outfit is part of your personal brand in those spaces,
Yeah. So we're talking bold prints, cool jewelry, vintage finds.
All of that.
I bet those offices are so fun to walk into.
They can be, yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, you still got to be smart about it. Just throwing on the most random thing you can find in your closet probably isn't going to cut it.
Right, right. It's got to be intentional.
Exactly. Like a good question to ask yourself is, okay, does this outfit actually show who I am as a professional? Is this the message I want to send?
Dress for the job you want, creative edition. Okay, so what about the tech world? TimeTrex made it sound like anything goes over there.
Yeah, they even said some places are cool with a good t-shirt.
Seriously?
It's true, but it's not that simple. Like, I think, especially with tech startups, there's this we do things differently mentality. So a T-shirt, as long as it fits well,
Uh-huh.
and maybe even has, like, the company logo, that
Yeah.
can actually be seen as a good thing.
Yeah, it's like their version of a suit and tie.
Totally.
Mhm.
But you're not going to wear that same T-shirt to meet with, a bunch of investors.
Right. So even when it's casual, you got to know when to like switch it up.
Exactly. Context is everything.
Totally. It kind of goes back to what we were saying before about how what you wear can actually impact your career.
It's true.
And speaking of high pressure situations, what does TimeTrex say about job interviews?
Okay, so that's when you really want to step it up a notch. Even if the company seems super casual, an interview is like your chance to make a killer first impression.
So you're saying even if you saw on their Instagram that everyone's wearing jeans and t-shirts,
Yeah.
you might not want to take that risk.
Probably not.
Yeah.
It's always better to be a little more dressed up than you need to be.
It shows you're serious about the opportunity.
Right. I always say a button-down shirt or a nice blouse with some tailored pants.
Classics.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
And when you look good, you feel good.
100%. Confidence is key.
Yes. Okay, before we wrap up this whole business casual thing, there was one more thing in the TimeTrex guide that I thought was so cool.
Okay, what's that?
They were talking about how tech can actually help us figure out this whole dress code thing. Like, did you see that part about visual lookbooks and AI style assistants?
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like having a personal stylist in your pocket.
Right. It would be so helpful to have an app that's like, based on where you work, here are some outfit ideas.
Right. And it could even tell you what's already in your closet that you could wear.
Oh, that would be amazing. Seriously. Can you imagine, like, never having to stress about what to wear to work again? Sign me up for that.
Right. But, it's more than just, like, saving us from those closet meltdowns in the morning.
Yeah, totally. You were saying before how it could be huge for company culture, too.
Absolutely. I mean, most companies have a dress code written down somewhere, but who actually reads those? But if you have an app, like a visual lookbook, suddenly everyone's on the same page.
It just makes it so much more clear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so interesting about all of this. Like, we've been talking about how business casual has changed so much.
Yeah, yeah.
And how different industries have their own rules.
Yeah.
But now we've got technology that can actually help us figure it all out.
Right.
So it kind of makes you wonder, what's next? Like, how is this whole idea of professionalism going to keep changing?
Ooh, good question. So are we all going to be rocking sweatpants at our desks in 5 years? Is that the future?
I mean, who knows, right? Maybe. But it's not just about the clothes themselves, is it? It's about what they represent.
That's true.
Like, as the lines between our work life and our personal life get blurrier and blurrier,
Right.
how do we make sure we're still presenting ourselves as, competent professional,
Yeah, all of that.
no matter what we're wearing or where we're working from? I think that's something we're all still figuring out.
It's a work in progress for sure. Well, I think that's a great place to leave it for today. So much to think about.
Definitely.
Big thanks to our listeners for diving into this whole business casual thing with us. And remember, no matter what you're wearing, confidence is key.
Couldn't agree more.
Until next time, keep it stylish.